Welcome to Conversations with Dr. Skip Mason,
pastor, preacher, historian, author,
teacher, librarian, archivist, world traveler,
collector, family historian, avid reader, and creator of the popular Vanishing Black Atlanta Facebook page.
But a lot of folks who love history.
Most importantly, he's our dad, who loves his family and who taught us the importance of our history and having important conversations.
Join him now for this episode of Conversations with Dr. Skip.
Well, let me say good Monday evening to all of you, my brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for joining me on this CME150 Father's Day week special presentation featuring some of the families of our beloved bishops. I am so delighted that you would spend some time with us today. I'm excited about this wonderful family that share with us in just a few moments. And I encourage you, if you would, to take a moment. Let me take my Dollar Tree readers off so that I can see. I encourage you to host a watch party, if you would. That's that little button on your Facebook page that allows others to come and share, or either share it with members of the CME Church family and others who might be interested in our wonderful history. I had a delightful conversation yesterday with Bishop James B. Walker, and I just appreciate the wonderful comments and the kind remarks that you made, and Bishop Walker was so pleased. And what I've enjoyed about these conversations is the fact that these wonderful bishops are sharing and giving us a little insight on their journey to the episcopacy and helping us to understand the dynamics of their ministry. I want you to know that this week, tonight, and I'll bring the Lockett family up in just a few moments, but this week we are featuring some other families of our distinguished bishops. On tomorrow, we will have the families of Bishop Joseph Johnson and also Bishop Thomas L. Hart. That's tomorrow, beginning at 7 o'clock p.m. 7 o'clock with the Johnson family, and then 8 o'clock with the Hart family. And then on Wednesday, we'll be with the family of Bishop William H. Graves. And then I'll need a few days to recuperate, to prepare for a Sunday, because I mentioned yesterday we had a trio, but I made a mistake. We have more than a trio. We have a dynamic quad. We have Reverend Dr. Darrell Coleman, who will come and share about his father, Bishop Caesar Coleman. We also have Reverend Norris Curry, who will come and share about his father, Bishop Norris Curry. And we have members of the Isom family. The Isom brothers will be with us as well to share about Bishop Dossie Isom. And then Reverend Dr. Claude Bass will come and share about his father, Bishop R.O. Bass. So I'm excited that we have these wonderful families with us this week to come and share. But I am just delighted now to bring to you members of the Lockett family. Isn't this a beautiful family portrait? They're probably saying, oh my goodness, why in the world is he showing this? I just think this is a beautiful portrait of the family. And so my brothers and sisters, it is my delight to bring forth members of the Lockett family. Let me begin by welcoming Mrs. Lily Lockett. Hello, Sister Lockett.
Hello, Dr. Mason.
So glad to have you with us today. And you are joined by your daughter, Tony. Hello, Sister Tony.
Hello, Dr. Mason. Thank you for having us.
So glad to have you. And Brother Dale. Hello again, sir.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing fine. And I better hurry up and get Dwayne on while his Wi-Fi is still working. Brother Dwayne, so glad to have you. And as we have one of our great preachers and pastors in our Zion, who is also a family member, brother-in-law, Reverend Raymond Williams. Reverend, how you doing, sir?
I'm blessed. Thank you so much for letting us come.
Well, I'm delighted that you are here. All of you all are here with us to just share some memories about Bishop Lockett. Let me read these words from Bishop Lakey. This is what Bishop Lakey said in the book that he wrote on the history of the bishops. He said, 57th Bishop of the CME Church, Wallace Edward Lockett, had the unique distinction of having the most imposing physique and stentorial voice. You know, I had to Google stentorian to see what that meant. Of any bishop in the history of the church. That is from Bishop Lakey. And so help us to know, for those who did not have the pleasure of knowing him, help us to paint a wonderful picture of your husband, your father, and your brother in love and in Christ. And I got to start with Sister Lockett. Sister Lockett, how did you all meet?
I'm sorry, you're not coming in clear now.
Okay, can you hear me a little better now? Is that
can't
better?
Hear you at all.
Okay, I had the microphone in and we were getting a little buzz, but let me try that and see if that'll help some, okay? And I apologize for the buzz. Can you hear me better? Is that a little better?
It's real.
It's kind of faint. Okay.
It's not clear at all.
Oh, wow. I'm
It's
so sorry.
static.
Well, if you can hear me a little, I was just trying to ask you, where did you all meet? Kids, you're welcome to chime in. Maybe they told your story. while we work on
I think Uncle Raymond knows the story.
Okay. Uncle Raymond, tell us a story.
The best person to tell that story.
I went to St. Augustine, Florida in the early 60s, and Bishop Lockett was a student at Murray High School. And I needed a young adult speaker for that coming Sunday. And one of the professors asked me to meet him. Little did I know that we would become brother-in-laws. Lily was there going to school, and at St. Augustine, Florida Memorial.
Yes.
And that's where, I don't know, they met some kind of way there in the city of St. Augustine, because when they got back to St. Augustine after a few years and went to the funeral of her grandfather,
okay,
that's who came home with her. Wow. So the whole thing gathered around St. Augustine, Florida.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Now, Bishop Lockett was born in Valdosta, Georgia.
Yes.
So you know, we claim him as a Georgian. We claim him in the red mud and soils of Georgia, but he grew up in St. Augustine,
yes.
As you mentioned. And I think I even read that one of his parents was Jamaican, and he spent a little time there.
Yes.
And all of you all feel free to chime in on any aspect of the story as you know it. But he met and married Sister Lily. Sister Lily, are you able to hear me a little better now? Am I coming through?
Yeah.
It's just not coming in clear. It's like real sporadic. I don't know what's going
so
on.
maybe my sound.
First, but now it's really
maybe my sound is breaking up. But if you can hear me, can you tell? If you can hear me, tell me what it was about Bishop Lockett that you fell in love with.
I'm not hearing you.
I can't hear you. Enough to answer. I think there may be something wrong with my mother's internet, but I do know that she fell in love with my father because he was tall and handsome. And I think there it is. He was tall at that time, and handsome.
Wow. Well, he was
If you're
commanded.
asking me what
Did
it
any of
was
you all get the
about,
hype?
can you hear me?
Yes.
We can
We
hear
can.
you.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. We can hear you.
Yeah.
If you're asking me what it was about him that attracted me to him,
Yes.
besides the fact he was a good-looking guy, he also recited a lot of literature to me on our dates, and he also sang calypso songs. He was very romantic.
Okay. Wow. Poetry and calypso songs. What a combination.
I think I'm hearing this for the first time. So yeah, this is new.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh, wow. Getting some new facts to the story. And so he went into the military. And was this before or after he married your mother? Do any of you know?
It
That's a good
probably
question.
What's it, Tony?
I said, that's a good question. I don't know.
Well,
No.
that was what?
Am I the only one having a problem with the sound?
Yes.
Yeah. He was.
Am I the only one having a problem with the sound?
No.
Yeah, I think you might be having a little Wi-Fi. Yeah. But your children and brother-in-law are doing well. So we'll try to carry it, and hopefully your sound will come back. Well, let me ask this question. You got married and had children, and so who's the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Dwayne is the oldest. Tell us about your dad, Dwayne, and growing up as a preacher's kid. Now I understand that he did not grow up in the CME church. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, what church was it? Baptist, Pentecostal?
He called me one night after being out in the service.
Okay.
And said, "Listen, I've been called to preach. What church should I join?" Now that was the wrong question to ask me. I only knew the CME church at that time. And I told him there's a good friend of mine in Tucson by the name of Al Jones, and he's the presiding elder there. And he and Al hooked up, and Al brought him on into the CME church.
Wow.
And got him going with Bishop Amos and all of that. And of course, he pulled all the children in with him.
Of course he did. Of course he did. So Dwayne, you're the oldest. What are your early memories of your dad and following behind him as he was preaching and pastoring?
Must be on here.
Well, I remember the other jobs while he was also pastoring. He sold insurance. I believe he managed a gas station one time. He was also, like you said, he was also in the service. So he's trying to do both things as he gathered up his flock, as it would say.
Yeah. And where were you all living at the time?
It was in Tulsa.
Oh, so you were living in Tulsa. Okay.
Not Tulsa, I'm sorry. That's where my wife's from. Tucson.
In Tucson. Okay. Yeah. Living in Tucson. And who's the second oldest?
I'm the middle child.
Oh.
Yeah.
God bless you, Dale.
Yeah, the peacemaker.
Well, Dale, tell us about your memories of your dad and his. I have two children, and I just know that there were times they dreaded having to go to another sermon, another service, a program, that whole 9 yards. Was that the way it was with you as well, and you and Tony?
Well, see, I'll start with, so I was born on Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. So in Tucson. So I was, so he was in the military at that time still.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So as far as memories go, there's so many, but the ones I can recall as a younger child is, as you have shared, he was larger than life, a very imposing figure. So there wasn't a lot of messing around. So we kind of kept a straight line.
Oh, I'm sure.
So all that you hear about preachers' kids and them cutting up and whatnot,
not in your house.
Go down in the Lockett house. But no, just the support and the love, as my mom said, just the love he showed all of us kids and just shared with us at a very early age that we were there. Anything was possible for us.
Yeah.
That we could do anything. My career in the broadcast industry, I owe to my dad because there was a television program class at my high school in Lufkin, and I didn't sign up for it because I didn't think I would get in. I shared that with him after school one day, first week of school. And he says, "Is this something you want to do?" I said, "Yeah, I would like to do it, but I think the deadline's passed." So
right.
The next day he was up at the school and got me signed up for that class.
Oh, wow.
So kind of the rest is history. So I'm so grateful that he supported all of our interests and desires, and just really put a focus on us that mediocrity was not acceptable, and we had to always strive for excellence in everything that we do.
Yes, indeed. Tony, you were the
baby.
The baby of the family.
Yeah. I can't say that I'm the youngest anything anymore, so I'm excited about that.
Well, Tony, tell us about your dad and what you remember growing up as a little girl.
I was the ultimate daddy's girl, and still am to some degree. I adored and adore my father, and so many people do still adore him and still remember him. He was a great big teddy bear, and in fact, when he was at Metropolitan in Houston, they called him Papa Bear, and he was that. Now that is I see on the television my mini me, see on the screen my mini me, my niece Dale's little girl.
Oh,
and I remember, I think I have pictures exactly like that with my father holding me, but he was incredible and loving, and there was not a moment that I didn't know how much my father loved me, because he told us all the time. Yeah. And one of the things that I'm so grateful for is that when my father passed, I knew that the last time I talked to him, we had told each other that we loved each other, because that's how we ended every phone call. And it's still how every member of my family ends every phone call.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. So now let me ask you, what are you all doing now professionally? And Tony, we'll start with you.
So I'm a real estate developer.
Okay.
I live in New York, and I develop affordable housing, rental buildings in New York and New Jersey. And exactly the same as Dale, my father got me into this business. I started as a volunteer with a grassroots community development organization, and now I'm the managing director of a real estate development firm in New York.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. And Dale, what are you doing now?
So my position, I work at the Houston, at the CBS affiliate here in Houston, KHOU TV, and I'm the director of local programming and community marketing for the station.
Oh, wow.
And so with my role, I oversee all of our community marketing initiatives, also oversee our daily talk show, Great Day Houston, and other non-news local programming for the station.
Oh, great.
And as I look at my brother and sister, and I just recalled to my dad's voice message where he would say, "This is Ed Lockett. I'm out trying to make a difference in the world today." And as I look at Dwayne and Tony and myself, we are providing a legacy of doing just that as well. So I couldn't be prouder of each of them in that respect.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Dwayne, what are you doing now professionally?
I'm a quality control analyst for the state of Texas, an auditor for the food stamp program, and reports to the food and nutrition services. I'm doing it for over 26 years.
Wow, that's great.
As Dale said, I think that's one thing as we endeavored into our careers. Our father taught us to be sincere about what we want to do and how we're going to do it, and that kindness is not a weakness.
Wow. Well, Mrs. Clarice Flake Cunningham is on, and so delighted that she is here with us, and we continue to send our prayers to you as we think of and celebrate the life of Bishop Ronald M. Cunningham. And Sister Cunningham has just been such a faithful viewer of these conversations, and in due time, I'm looking forward to having a conversation with Sister Cunningham and her daughter in due time. But we send our love. Would you all like to say hello to her? She can hear you and see you.
Yeah. Absolutely. We love you.
Our hearts go out and our prayers are with you all. And what a great man Bishop Cunningham was.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm also delighted that our senior bishop, Bishop Lawrence L. Reddick and Mrs. Wendy Jones Reddick are on as well. And they too remarked about hearing about the Calypso songs.
Yeah, that's a new one for me.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Senior Bishop and Mrs. Reddick, we are so delighted to have you all on as well. And thank God, Sister Lockett, how you doing over there, sweetheart? Can you hear me now? Well, that's okay. We just gonna look at your pretty face and that beautiful necklace. Listen, I'm just glad. I'm just so glad that she's on. I am just so glad that she's on. Now, let me shift for a minute in terms of you all grew up CME.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, I'm not gonna put you on the spot and ask you if you're still CME.
Oh yeah.
But you were very involved in the CYF and going to annual conferences and all of that stuff that goes with being a CME, huh?
That is correct. Yes, we attended the conferences.
Yeah.
After I stopped going every Sunday at about 10 years old in the pews, absolutely.
Yeah. So Reverend Williams, everybody knows you, but just for the one or two who may not, tell us how you are related to the family, and secondly, just a little bit about your relationship with Bishop Lockett.
Bishop Lockett and I were close, like brothers.
Yes.
I don't know how we struck that up, but he was always that kind of jovial young guy, and he was a well-learned young man.
Yes, sir.
He read all the time, and he hung around with folk that had good sense, and they were going somewhere. And I can remember a couple that was somewhat like an adopted family to him when he was in high school. He was a medical doctor, and his wife was there. And they took him abroad. They took him to various operas, and they took him to various things that would come there. And he and I struck up that kind of conversation. I'd love to talk to him because he knew more in the books than I did. And I would just tickle his fancy when I would have him talk about it. And he was very articulate. You didn't know this, but he could build a log cabins from scratch.
Really?
Yeah, I was with him down around Tyler, Texas, when he built this log cabin, a 3-bedroom house. And I just stood there and watched because I had no sense of how to do it. And he would tell me what to push up toward the house. But a very intelligent young man. And the church really lost a gem when they lost him, because he was just beginning to do some of the things he wanted to do.
Yes, sir.
For the church. He meant to bring us into a church that could master and take care of itself, like he did in Houston.
Yes.
With that beautiful sanctuary.
And tell us about that. I think he was at that church for over 25 years. Is that correct?
Oh yes, he ran the gamut. He was at the old church. They can tell you what street. I thought it was something like Cullen.
Boulevard.
Yeah, and then he was there quite a while. And but before that, he had been at Kirkwood and at Lufkin. And when he was in Florida, he was at Tavares, where my mother got married. And it's amazing how you get hooked up to folk that you have no desire as a child who they were. But he was so energetic, and he loved Africa. He loved Jamaica. I tell him, Mom, you don't know nothing about the Jamaican people. He said, yes, I do. And he was very intelligent, and he could sit with kings and queens. He could sit with the most learned folk and have real conversations while I sat there and smiled.
Isn't that something?
He's a beautiful spirit. We got together and we rode cross country 2 or 3 times in a truck. He was helping me move my daughter to California from Carolina.
Wow.
And you imagine what that conversation was like all the way to California.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yes.
That's a long drive. So what do you all remember? When did you find out that your dad was going to offer himself for bishop? And were you all involved in that piece? When did you all find out about that?
I guess it was at least a couple years prior, as I think to it. But are you there, Mom? Can you hear us?
Dale, can I?
Yeah.
Can you hear that? I can't hear him.
Yeah, we can hear you, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I don't know what was the question. I cannot believe it.
Can you hear me?
We were just talking about his offering himself. I have to stop saying running for bishop. Bishop Lakey said now a candidate does not run for bishop. He offers himself.
Yeah.
Okay, so I say, when did he offer himself? And were you all at the general conference when he was elected? Did any of you all make it?
We made it there after the election.
Okay.
But I remember that day vividly, being at work and just waiting for those texts to come through.
Yeah.
As the vote was happening, I mean, I couldn't focus on anything at work.
Oh, I'm sure.
I know.
We were getting play, and then we flew in the day after. I think the day after he was elected.
Yeah.
So to be with Mom and Dad for the election. So that was it was incredibly special, and we were definitely on pins and needles with every vote.
Yes.
And so he was elected, and he was assigned to the 5th Episcopal District, which is Alabama and Florida. And I think that he maybe he chaired the board of trustees for Miles. I know he was on the board of trustees, but it was a short tenure, but very powerful a tenure. Where Reverend Williams, what do you recall? What was his vision, and hopes for the 5th Episcopal District?
He wanted to bring them out of debt.
Okay.
And also help churches that were being built manage the debt.
Yes,
Bishop Lockett was a very great person with finances and with helping you get where you wanted to go. And his joy was that I'm going to be able to help my church get on its feet. And he did as much as he could, but he didn't get a chance to do what he really wanted to do. And because he loved the church.
Yes, sir.
And he loved the people of the church. He loved the bishops of the church and the general officers. I can remember him. We were together in Haiti and Jamaica, and he went to Africa and loved Africa.
Yes, yes.
Not because he just knew where his roots were. And that's what he was trying to convey to local pastors, that you've been called to lead people out of darkness into light.
Right.
And he had that vision, how to do that.
Right, right. Yes, he did. I took Sister Tony and your mom off. Sister Tony's going to try to reach your mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just would follow up with that, Dr. Mason,
okay.
with what Uncle shared there. Yes, visionary is, I would use that word to describe my dad 100%. And in addition to visionary, the intestinal fortitude and courage that would come with that vision. It wasn't always about following the popular road. He would stand out if he knew and believed in his heart what was the right thing to do, even if it wasn't the most popular thing to do. He was more than willing to focus and just stay laser focused on achieving those goals for the betterment of the church.
Yeah.
And I was just so proud of him, because I know so many times, it wasn't always, a big cheering squad for all of those decisions that he made, but knowing that they were the right decisions to make. Just so proud of him. I recall of all the, even with the building of the new church at the new location of 288 and Reed Road. Yes. That was not a decision that was 100% supported, but he saw bigger things for Metropolitan, and thank God he did, because he just believed in taking things to another level in service of God.
Yes.
So those conversations in that pickup truck, when I had the privilege to take rides with him, he said, "You want to go for a ride?" I never would want to pass that up, even if it was just going to Lowe's or Home Depot for a run to pick up something that he was working on or building on. And everybody loved him, because we go through Lowe's and Home Depot. All of the sales associates knew who he was. I'm like, because he just was. He didn't know a stranger. Yeah, it was just friends he had yet to meet. It was kind of the motto of the church, and he lived that in all aspects of his life.
Wow. So, Dwayne, let's talk about his preaching, because it appears. Let me put this picture up here. Dale, you would appreciate this. I'm the host. I'm the engineer. I'm the producer.
That is.
I run the credits.
That's a lot of credit.
It's a lot to do, but look at this.
With the same pay, correct?
Yes. So Dwayne, tell us about your dad as a preacher.
As a preacher, he preached like he had the Baptist fire in him. He wasn't stoic and calm and standing behind the pulpit. He moved around, all 300 pounds of him, moved around. And sometimes you hear a little creak on the stage a little bit, but he moved, and his voice was powerful enough that he didn't need a mic, and which is why he got called to other churches, other denominations to preach. Oftentimes, Baptists would call, Episcopal would call,
Yes.
other countries would call for him to come and preach because they knew they were going to get a dynamic speaker.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I tell you. Sister Tony,
we all work with, in some capacity with words. And he was, my mom was an English teacher, and then my dad in the ministry. I was just always enamored with the way he crafted his messages, just how from the start of the message until, the body of it, and then how he kind of tied it all together. I would just sit there and just marvel at the way he was able to craft the message. And that is something, as I went into my career in a different industry, in a different capacity, a different calling, the way that he used the English language and was able to communicate and convey a message was just powerful, and I learned so much from watching him on Sunday mornings, and just from just interacting with him. I was we're all the most fortunate kids on the planet. We hit the lottery when it comes to parents.
Beautiful. Yeah. That is beautiful. And I've been sharing some of the wonderful comments from many of our viewers who are watching, and whose comments are making it up to the screen, and they all are echoing the very same thing. And it is certainly my loss that I never got a chance to meet Bishop Lockett, but you're helping me and many others to know him. And Brother Al said he had a great vision for Africa. What was his love for Africa? Because I love Africa, and I've already declared that if that man gets reelected in the White House, I'm moving to Africa. I'll come back in 4 years or so. But what was your dad's love for Africa?
Well, he loved the people.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Dwayne.
He loved the people, and he saw that it was an economical treasure map there. The land, the resources, the people to work with, and he made connections there, and he just loved there. I think he was planning on moving there after he retired. So he also wanted us to go there.
Now, I think mom may be back. I hope so, and I think that she would. That now is a perfect time. I'm talking about moving to Africa for her to chime in. If she
can you hear us, Mom?
It looks like she can't, but I will say this. Economic development was his passion, and that is what he wanted for Africa. He wanted to bring resources or take resources to Africa, and resources of all types, not just financial resources, but absolutely the intellectual, the knowledge that he'd gained as a community developer in Houston and around the country. He wanted to build communities for the people of Africa, and he loved them, and they loved him.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. How often did you visit?
I want to say he was going once every couple of years. And I will say that I'm so glad that his last trip was to Africa. We know that he enjoyed himself so much. Bishop Norton actually shared videos of that last trip. to Africa, and it was so meaningful to each of us after he passed away.
Yeah.
My mother having no part of moving to Africa. So.
She was not having it, huh?
No part of it.
Look, even as beautiful as she looks in her African caftan, I guess that was as far as Africa she was going to get.
When she realized that the balls were not what she expected them to be, she was, I think that she was out.
Yeah. Well, talk. You've alluded to it, but just share again, because just some beautiful pictures of your mom and dad, and talk about their relationship. Her supporting him, him supporting her. Any one of you.
I definitely, I'm monopolizing the conversation, but they were the cutest couple. They were funny. My dad made fun of my mom constantly. My mother never ordered a glass of iced tea that was strong enough. And my dad would you knew he was going to make the joke before he did it. So we would just look at each other and we knew what he was thinking every single time we went to a restaurant.
Yeah, it was
but
like
he just adored her.
It really was like a sitcom at times. Dr. Mason, with whether we were at dinner together, or if we're on a car trip somewhere, you just would know, okay, she said this. I could just see my dad just waiting for his one-liner to follow that up with. So it was just like, watching a sitcom, the two of them.
So they both had good sense of humor, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're able to give it to each other, and kind of push each other's buttons in a loving sort of way.
Right. Yeah. Let me just pause. It's always a joy to have Bishop Marshall and Mrs. Yvonne Gilmore watching, faithful viewers of the conversation, and they send their greetings to the Locketts and our friend Dr. Williams.
They are some wonderful people.
Let me say that Bishop Gilmore was such a mentor for him.
Amen. She heard it, you all. She heard it.
He was definitely one of his.
That's awesome. I know she has a lot to say.
Yeah.
I also want to say that Rita Washington saw, and what an amazing supporter of our family as well.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I think I saw a few comments from her as well. Sister Janice Williams, and boy, I can't keep up with the comments. Let's see, Rosemary Gibson Hill. I remember him coming to Phoenix each year to do revivals at Phillips Memorial. When his friend and pastor, Reverend Etna, passed away, said to him, I won't come into Phoenix anymore. He said, well, you and your family is over at Amos, so have your pastor invite me to Amos. Then he was elected bishop. And I saw him in a meeting a few months before he passed, and I said, Bishop, I guess we won't get that revival now. He said to me, Mrs. Hill, I was a preacher first, and if it's your pastor, invite me. That's a beautiful, beautiful memory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful memory. And now, do any of you have, let's see, Dale, you have a daughter. Do any of you have children?
Yes. So I have, you saw the little pictures of her, but she's going to be a senior in high school now. So
wow.
Yeah, so those years fly by for sure.
Yeah.
And then I have an older stepdaughter who's in her early 30s. So I'm very blessed. House full of girls.
Have you had a chance to share anything, or has she inquired anything about your father?
Oh, she still, she was much younger, but she still has memories of him for sure.
Oh,
absolutely. Good. That was Papa.
They were in.
Yeah. That was Papa's angel for sure. So I thank God that she does have those memories of her papa, and that she'll always have those memories. We have all those videos.
Oh, wonderful!
From the holiday gatherings, so we have memories that last a lifetime. So very, very grateful for that.
And I'm sure there are videos and recordings of his sermons as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most
in fact, I think I've seen a few on YouTube as well. Everything ends up on YouTube. Be careful.
Yeah, that was one of my jobs, Dr. Mason.
Yes, sir.
Was prior to us moving to the location on 288. I was normally the audio video videographer.
Oh, you handled that.
It was a very basic setup, but I kind of took that duty on for a number of occasions.
Yes, indeed. I tell you. So, how shall, and I'd like for each one of you, and I appreciate your time and just sharing and painting a picture of just a beautiful individual. But how shall we remember Bishop Lockett? How would you like the church to remember your dad and husband and your brother in love? Either one of you can go.
Well, I'd like to say that he wants to be remembered as a visionary in the church, to see the church to a greater height, to be the best for his family and his friends and his community. And every day I miss him. I think about him every day.
Mm-hmm.
To have his name in my cell phone, his number.
Yes.
I thought this would be a sad occasion talking about him, but it is a celebration there.
It is. Life. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And while I'm talking, I just want to say thank you to my favorite uncle, Uncle Raymond.
God bless you.
Not only does he have great insight of our family, he has a great sense of humor, a great cook, and I always loved him.
Yeah.
Thank you. Love you more.
Well, I requested a friend. I've sent him a friend request on Facebook since I knew he was going to be on this show. I think I sent Brother Dale one too, and Dwayne and Tony. I didn't see you. You may be on there, but I said all of that because on your
my sister, no.
But on your favorite. On your favorite uncle's page is nothing but pictures of cakes and desserts and food. God, and as much of a sweet tooth as I have, I said I know I'm gonna be scrolling down his pages.
There you go.
Do you bake?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah, my grandson and my daughter took it over.
Oh, okay.
I got tired.
Yeah.
Because I was so good, Let me just say one thing about remembering Bishop Lockett. He was a praying man.
Mm-hmm.
I used to laugh at him because I said, that man can't pray. And on those highway trips, we would share his prayers. His mother was a Pentecostal bishop, and he picked up a lot of religious movements. And you should have seen us going down through Alabama and Mississippi and Arizona and on out that way. He would recall scriptures that his mother preached.
Wow.
And when I got in trouble, I would call him. And I got something for you to listen to. And he would, I've never been a classical person for music. I love everything else but classical. I know it.
Right.
But he would even when we roomed together, he'd bring me one of these headphones and stick that thing in my ear and say, "You need to relax." And it would be so beautiful. And then he'd look over and say, "You enjoying it?" I said, "Yeah." But I was really sleeping. He believed in meditation.
Yes.
And he and I would meditate in the rooms where we shared. And now I want to talk about colored folk. Okay. And he wanted to talk about the vision of God in our lives. Raymond, did you ever believe we would get here?
Wow.
Yeah. And when he told me he was going to be running for offering himself for bishop,
yes,
I'd say, "You in the right season, you in the right time." Because we had so many young bishops and we needed somebody who was experienced and older. Now, he loved Bishop Gilmore. And Bishop Lakey was one of his boys. And when they talked about what you need to do for the church.
Right.
But my brother-in-law was ought to be remembered as an entrepreneur, one who knows how to build a program, and one who knows how to carry it out. I'm so sorry that we didn't get a chance to share long in his episcopacy leadership. Sure. But he was a great guy. He could tell jokes too. So we got along well on that.
And I'm going to I still want you to give us something to remember him by, but did he have any favorite quotes or any sayings that come to mind that you remember him saying?
No. He had so many.
It's funny. I was always quoting Shakespeare, and I wish that I could do it, and I cannot. But Daddy was always quoting Shakespeare. It was incredible.
Really?
He was always.
Wow. That's amazing. Dale, what should we remember your dad? What should the church remember him for?
I mean, that he just had the a servant spirit about him. You know, everything about him was about serving others in all capacities and just making life better for others, whether those were members of his congregation, if were those individuals in Africa that he met during his visits there. He always wanted to uplift others. And I just will say, just in the years that I had the opportunity, Dr. Mason, to just to watch him and study how he carried himself as a man.
Yes, sir.
Each and every day, what the congregation saw on Sunday, we saw Monday through Saturday as well.
Yeah.
The same man, 7 days a week, 365. And you couldn't have a better role model to show you how to become a man. And I follow that example and that those guidelines that he provided for me each and every day of my life.
Yeah. Good. Sister Tony, what do you remember? What should we remember? Not what do you, but what should we remember about your dad?
There's so many things, and I could go on forever about my dad, and sometimes I do. One of the things that I remember that he used to say to us whenever we'd go any place, particularly if we were going out of town or on a school trip, was remember who you are.
Yes.
And which meant to us, as young people, okay, we better not do anything that that he hears about that we're not proud of.
Remember your locket. Remember your locket.
Remember your locket. And it meant everything then, and it means everything now. I mean, we certainly still want to make him proud, but I think what I really want people to remember is how much he loved them, how much he loved every single member of the congregation are our family now,
Yeah.
who are absolutely all part of our family, and not just our congregation, but the church.
Yeah.
And he just loved people so much. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
Yeah.
And he touched so many people's lives. And you still today hear, people talk about how much he touched their lives and how grateful they are to have known him.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't be more grateful to have parents like both my parents, my mom and dad, as Bill said, and he's absolutely right. It's we won the parental lottery. They loved us and love us so much, and have afforded us every opportunity in the world.
Beautiful, beautiful. Sister Lockett, want to give you the closing words, if you can hear me, about your husband and what we should remember. Can you hear?
Dr. Mason, I cannot hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So you can go ahead and share.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me, Dr. Mason?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you. Can you hear me? If you go ahead and speak, we're listening. We can hear you.
I think
okay. Let me just say that my husband.
You folks.
Go ahead, Sister Lockett. We have our undivided.
He was a very good person. Can't hear you. He loved Africa. He loved his family. And was really committed and dedicated to the church.
Beautiful. Beautiful way to close this out. Lockett family and Brother Reverend Williams, thank you so much for spending this time with us. I know I'm better, and the church is better for this hour that we shared, lifting his name. And there's an old African proverb says that a person is never dead as long as you speak their name.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have done, and that's what you continue to do each day of your life, in what you do and how you do it, and remembering your father. And we are grateful to you, all of you, for sharing with us, and our continued blessings and prayers on your life as we celebrate the 150th anniversary of the CME Church. And tonight we have shared with the Lockett family in memory and in grateful honor of Bishop Wallace Edward Lockett. And we thank God. And I just want to, as we close out, just to play this tune. And this is actually Bishop Reddick playing, but I think it's an appropriate way to close out this. Thank you all. God bless you all, and may God keep you.
Thank you, Dr. Mason.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you.